orange and blue sunset in mile high here in Broncos country. Let's get ready to ride. Russ and the rest are gonna light up the sky. We'll break it down after the game with the guys. Hometown heroes with their own sports bar. The best coverage in Denver, don't go too far. Just turn on DNVR. We are DNVR.
Victory Monday podcast. Think fast, Hank. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Boom. Wanna keep the horns coming. Yeah,
First
let's
in
go.
the AFC
First
West.
play. Yeah, do it again.
Two-game winning streak.
Round of applause, everyone.
And a chance to beat the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, it feels good, man. Feels good to wake up on a Victory Monday. Sun is shining, 75 out here in Denver, Colorado. Not a cloud in the sky, maybe a couple clouds in the sky. And that's potentially symbolic, having a couple clouds in the sky. Not a perfect day, but it is a perfect day for an exciting announcement. And what better way to do it than after a Denver Broncos victory? You guys have been waiting for, days, months, weeks, almost years, actually,
Even
depending on if
years.
you count.
Definitely years.
The COVID delay. You've been waiting years to find out what our plans are for London, and we are ready to announce them. So it's live on Eventbrite right now. You can go to Eventbrite, search DNVR, or go to dnvr.eventbrite.com and find out the entire plan. But I'll say it right here. Friday night, everyone gets into town. We'll actually be there starting Tuesday. We're probably going to do a couple informal events before that. But Friday night, everyone's in town for the game. Booze cruise down the Thames River.
Ooh.
Get everyone together. First 4 drinks are included in your ticket. It's about a 4-hour experience. So you drink an hour. The RK game day plan.
Yeah.
And you can mix in a couple more at the
Oh,
bar
there
there.
will be.
Yes, I think there will be. So that's where we start things out. That's where everyone comes around. Broncos fans from all over the globe.
Yeah.
Going down the river, making noise, making ruckus, making our presence felt.
I love it.
I'm very excited for that. I love rivers. I don't think we've talked about this much, but that's my favorite body of water.
Big rivers guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually think this is kind of dark. I think I'm worried about drowning in a river.
Visual-
I spend so much time on
Yet
rivers.
it's
I'm
your
so drunk.
favorite?
Exactly, but that's the problem. Is I love it so much and have such a good time. I fear that that's how I'm gonna go.
All right, visual meme. It's the Adam Levine meme.
Oh boy.
And then it's the Thames River, but it's Hank
Wait.
instead of Adam Levine at the top, and it says "Holy F, holy effing F." That body of water is absurd.
That's how you say that word. Tim's.
The Thames River.
THAMES. Wild.
I think there was a player with that last name, and it was pronounced that way too.
Wow.
Xavier Timms, I think he played for the Padres.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Throwing it out there. Anyways, that's Friday night. Saturday morning, classic vintage London double-decker bus tour. We're going around, seeing all the sights, pop off, take a little picture with Big Ben, the good one, not the shitty quarterback. That's going to be cool. All the great spots around London. Get to see some stuff. Obviously, tour guide,
Yep.
private bus with our own guide. Hopefully, we'll have some locals on there too who can give us some inside scoops. So that's a great way to start off our Saturday. The bus will then drop us off in Leicester Square, which is one of the coolest spots in London. Has a little bit of a Times Square vibe to it, I would say, from the pictures I've seen. So excited to see that.
A lot of ads.
Huh?
A lot of ads.
Yeah. They also do the big movie premieres there. You'll see, whenever a giant movie drops there in London, that'll be in Leicester Square. So that'll be awesome. We're going to get dropped off there. Pep rally. So that's going to be our big rally. Get everyone together. Get excited for the game. Yep, we're at a pub. Again, couple drinks included with your ticket there. So that should be exciting. And then after that, this isn't actually part of our package, but once that's over, we're just gonna like go, informally go bar crawl around that area because there's a ton of sick pubs. So pub crawl, I guess I should be saying. And then that all leads into the Sunday morning tailgate, which is going to be at one of the closest pubs to Wembley Stadium. We're all going there. It's going to be awesome, all inclusive with your ticket. So that's all you can eat, all you can drink at the tailgate, which is going to be sick. And then, since it is a little bit of a walk, there's very few places like right next to Wembley Stadium. Since it is a little bit of a walk, we're all going to leave at the same time and just march to the stadium. Like Broncos fan march, the like 10-minute or so walk it is to the stadium. And that'll be the event.
Man, sounds like an incredible weekend. We're about a month away.
Yes. So
Well, plus you get, if you buy the full big package, you get like swag bag.
Yes. So, yes, there's two packages that include multiple tickets. If you do any of those, then you're going to get an exclusive DNVR London shirt, exclusive DNVR London sticker pack, a
Some
custom
other stuff.
lanyard, a guide to London that we're going to put together with the experts.
Some of our partner things.
Yes.
Yep.
So, yeah, some partner, maybe like... potentially like a Breck brew in there. I know a lot of people from overseas have wanted to try that out, so we're working on ways that we can do such a thing. But it's going to be awesome.
And it's live now. How do people find it?
Yes, go to dnvr.eventbrite.com or just go to eventbrite.com and search DNVR at the top where it says search events. You can see that beautiful cover graphic we have and get your tickets.
Let's go. I can't
so
wait,
excited.
baby. And then it looks like we're going to have a winning Broncos team playing a good Jags team.
Real quick,
Maybe the first ever good game in London
it's a-
that people are excited about.
if it's a little hard to find, go just type in DNVR, then you'll see all of our tailgates, just regular tailgates. Then you click on that, and then you see like the little organized by DNVR. Then you click there. It took me there a little faster.
Okay.
So if you can't find it, I was like struggling. So
Well,
just
and
wanna
also
look
you
into
can
it.
just look out on our social media channels. We wanted to announce it here for the people first.
Yes.
Let's go.
And then we're going to put it out on our social channels just here in a little bit. So,
I'm so excited.
Again, can't wait. We'll talk a lot more about this as we get closer to it. And we'll see you guys there.
Let's go, baby.
There is
Ryan-
nothing better than a guided tour.
Oh, wow.
Like there is nothing
Henry
better.
loves rivers and guided
It's
tours.
incredible. I'm so hyped. I was talking about this last week, and Caitlin, I was saying, like, I'm curious what the Tower of London is. And she was just like, oh, it's this big thing. And I was like, you just spoiled it. Like, this is going to be so much fun. We're going to go out there and learn about all these things. But no, we got to keep things on the down low. Nobody tell me about London.
Right. Don't watch the movie preview.
Hell no. Never.
Never watch a movie preview before you watch it. Great point from Derek here. Sometimes when I
Yes.
get excited about announcements, I forget the most important announcement, which is that our presenting sponsor is DraftKings Sportsbook. And that's a good segue right here to, first of all, go over to DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the code DNVR to get in on all our great deals. And let's get back on track, boys. Victory Monday. But a victory Monday with some questions. I will say I went back and watched the game again today. And as you might imagine, I feel better this morning than I did last night, even though I felt great last night. So that's good news.
Why?
The defense was just so incredibly dominant. Like, I don't know. The Broncos offense, had obviously struggled. There were also way more missed calls, I thought, against the Broncos than there were against 49ers. Obviously, Draymond Jones probably could have got popped for offsides on that game-winning play. So that would have been a free play, bring it back, all the excitement's off the board, which would have been bad. But first of all, clear and obvious offensive pass interference on the touchdown, the one and only touchdown for the 49ers. And then the biggest one for me is the leg whip, slew foot trip from Nick Bosa, which he politicked his way out of, and we know he loves politics. And he got his way out of it, and then they cut to him, and he's just smirking to his teammates. I wish someone would have just popped him in the face right then and there. But that was a dirty play, and the fact that the refs threw the flag and then picked it up on such an obvious, dangerous, and dirty play was a joke to me. Anyways, all that aside,
Get it off your chest what you need to.
Yes, thank you. This is actually very therapeutic for me. I felt like the defense could have potentially pitched a shutout in that game. And if not, maybe could have been just a couple field goals that they gave up. So that to me was just unbelievable. the way that Evero is mixing up the packages, and last night he tried out a little NASCAR with it was DJ Jones, Draymond Jones, Baron Browning, Randy Gregory, and Bradley Chubb all out there at once.
You had Randy Gregory coming in on the inside, too.
It was just like, man, I love the way he's getting creative and using these pressure packages. Pat Surtain is unbeatable, and this defense, without Justin Simmons, potentially going to miss 4 games, maybe more, or I should say definitely going to miss 4 games. Well, now you're 2-0 in the first 2 games without him, and last night was one of the better defensive performances I've seen from the Denver Broncos.
2-0 without Justin Simmons. Is there a conspiracy brewing here?
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. But it's one of the big reasons is the backup stepped up. What have we said about PJ Locke all season? Just how good he was in the offseason, how good he was in training camp. And boy, did he look like it in this game. Coming up with that's not just a good play. That's such a heads-up play to understand, okay, I'm going to be coming from behind this guy, and I got a clear shot at the ball. Let me take it.
Yeah.
And then Kareem right there for the fumble. The safeties played great. The safeties played like they had an all-pro out there.
Yep, absolutely.
And, Caden Stearns, everybody's so excited about him last year because he gets in those sub-packages, and you love to see that, and he makes a couple plays here and there. But because he was taking all those reps, PJ Locke didn't get on the field at all. And so now that Caden bumps up a spot, he gets his start, all of a sudden PJ is going to get these opportunities for at least 2 more weeks in those sub-packages. So far, so good. And I'm only through, half of the first quarter so far, but I did take a peek at Pro Football Focus because I was looking something else up. He was the highest graded Bronco in that game last night, which I don't know that I put too much stock in that, but it wasn't even the fumble that did it. It was the coverage.
Those grades are always so weird.
Yeah.
They're great when they illustrate your point, but how does Pat Surtain get a 73?
Yeah.
0 receptions that he gives up?
With 2 incredible pass breakups.
Yeah. So weird. Josie Jewell not in the top 5 highest graded Broncos.
And he was an absolute beast. Guys, he led the team led or tied the team in tackles, sacks, quarterback hits, forced fumbles, tackles for a loss. I think I may have said that. And quarterback hits, if I didn't say that one already. Every single category. He led the team or was tied for the team lead.
Tackles.
He gave up that long run, though, that set up the touchdown. And when there's only 1 touchdown given up in the game, that one could sting. Again, I'm only through half the first quarter, but that one did jump out.
That shouldn't sting more than giving up a big play when there's 7 touchdowns in a game, though.
Okay, yeah, it's fair. But
at
still,
least if you're grading someone, right?
37-yard run.
Right.
On a scale that goes across the entire league.
Yeah, exactly.
The context, it should just be that play in context.
Right, exactly.
I think, at least.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe if, I don't know, I guess the question would be if it's 35-35, the last play of the game and someone gets burned for a touchdown, it's probably worth a little bit more. But that's not what happened.
But that's more
here.
situational because you're supposed to be sitting back
Right,
anyway.
exactly.
And then how about George Kittle? When we talk about Josie, George Kittle's a guy that's in the middle of that field. 28 yards.
Yeah, not enough discussion about that around because everyone's ready to, get the fangs out if George Kittle goes for 150 last night.
Yep.
But he gets, mostly clamped and no one's talking about it.
And that's with Josie Jewell, who's in his first game. Jonas Griffith has got some heat for his coverage of tight ends in the first 2 games. Looked good there. And then we already talked about it. PJ Locke, Kareem Jackson, Caden Stearns, backup safeties in there, and they take care of George Kittle. This could have easily been a 150-yard game for George Kittle. Now, not the way the Broncos played last night, but it set up for that being just a monster homecoming or coming out party for George Kittle this year.
Yeah, and he was, I felt like a little bit limited in terms of how much he was out there. I kept seeing him, standing next to Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah.
I don't know how many plays he was in for, but I did keep looking over, seeing, there's big old 85 just waiting to get his number called again, and I think they were being cautious in the way that they used him last night. But still, even when he was in there, he was not winning consistently.
No, he certainly was not. He did not look like a top 3 tight end like he is.
Yeah, it was just so impressive from that defense. And the final play, PJ Locke, I was just so happy for him. Last night, you're excited about the game, and then when I rewatched today, I was just like, dude, this is so awesome for PJ Locke. He's only in there for the most part because of the injury to Justin Simmons. He has been a guy that we consistently in training camp over the years have said, man, PJ Locke, like this dude can play. He makes plays on a daily basis. And finally gets in there, gets his opportunity. Not his first ever opportunity, but his first real opportunity on the big stage. And in the biggest moment, in the biggest play of the game, he goes and absolutely hammers that ball out of there. Like it wasn't, your classic punch. This was like a knockout punch in both senses of the word. So came away just being like, man, that's so sick. Like his whole family is either there or watching on TV. All of his friends are so excited for him. He makes the play of the game.
And,
and
he's a really good dude. And we have a troll in the comment section saying the whole defense is trash. Ali, we don't even need to pull it up. But this either is a Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders fan, or just a sick 49ers fan right now, because the whole defense was so trash that they allowed 10 points in the game, with the offense not helping them out much. They have the second best scoring defense in the NFL, only giving up 12 points per game somehow. With the Broncos offense only putting up 14 points per game, the defense is still doing better, and the entire defense got a game ball last night.
3 games that they have played, 3 fourth quarters. They have allowed 6 total points in the fourth quarter in 3 games.
In the second half?
In the second half, sorry,
Yes, entire half.
Yes, sorry. 6 quarters, 3 games, 6 points. 1 point per quarter in the second half of games right now. Just insane. Yes, it was Geno Smith, Davis Mills, and now you get a legitimate team in the 49ers. I saw people kind of trying to downplay that it's Jimmy Garoppolo, when all week we were talking about Jimmy's kind of scary.
Well, I think it's fair. I mean, Jimmy G is
middle
20th.
Of the road.
I mean, a little below average, I would say. But still, they've done what they couldn't do anything else against these guys.
Yes, they're holding teams to next to nothing. The Broncos should be 3-0 right now on the backs of their defense.
But Ryan, the Broncos aren't going to face quarterbacks like this. They're not going to give up 12 points per game throughout the season. But what encourages me the most about this defense is they come through when it matters most. Not only just clamping down in an entire second half of all 3 games, but closing the game out when it matters. Vic Fangio's defense was great at putting up good statistics, but they would just crumble at the end of a game. When they needed to stop, they wouldn't come up big, and we've seen that from this defense. They've come up big at the end of games. Last night, Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb just had their hair on fire. They forced the fumble at the end. They had an interception on the second to last drive. This defense comes up huge, and that at the end of the day is going to be more important than the stats of 12 points per game when you play the Chiefs. Because, guys, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Jags, they're probably going to put up more than 12 points, but it's when you have that 1-point lead. And Patrick Mahomes has the ball with 54 seconds left. Can you do what the Colts did last night? And right now, this Broncos defense is showing me, they're giving me hope that they can.
Definitely.
And I just looked up the fourth quarter. 3 points in 3 games allowed in the fourth quarter. They have allowed 1 scoring drive in the fourth quarter of 3 games.
Incredible.
Yep.
Awesome.
Incredible.
But yeah, I mean, with that defense, I mean, it didn't just get 1 stop at the end. Like, yeah, there was the PJ Locke stop, but there was also the pick from Justin Simmons. There's all those sacks that they're getting. Or sorry, from Jonas. Yeah, I got the J. But the fact that they were able to do that 3-4 times in that fourth quarter is crazy.
Yep.
Like, nobody can do that in the modern NFL. And again, like, this 49ers offense is good. And they were 7th in yards per game last year, and it's basically the same group. Maybe a little bit of a downgrade in the offensive line, but not significantly. That's really impressive to keep that offense from scoring that entire second half. Yeah, entire second half.
Yep, the entire second half. Incredible. All right, let's talk about the offense, guys, and how concerned are we? But first, Broncos have a huge opportunity. In the next 11 days, they can go 2-0 and be on a 4-game win streak and be 4-1 on the season. Or, as Hank pointed out yesterday, they could end up being 2-3, and you want to make sure that you are at that Colts game because that is creeping up. Broncos are away this week, but then just 4 days later, they play at home against the Colts. Thursday night football, and no better place to get your tickets than over at Game Time. Click the link in our description, and Game Time's interface is just what sets them apart on top of their prices, which just, the longer you wait, typically, the actually better the deal gets. So now you're kind of in a sweet spot right now where you can can plan for the game next week, but you also get your tickets on a good price. So head over to the link in our description. It's on our podcast if you're watching on podcast. It's on our YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. Click the link in our description. Check out Game Time to get to the Colts game.
My girlfriend's brother's coming down for that game. His flight lands at 3:45. And we've been trying to convince him to change it because you're getting out of the airport at like 4 at best.
4:30.
Yeah, and then you go straight to the same. Like, what are you thinking doing that? And then who knows? Maybe there's a delay too.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that would scare me is your 1 hour delay on the tarmac, which feels like it happens 1 out of every 5 flights right now.
Yep.
At least. Away from just like missing the game, or at least missing kickoff. Also missing the tailgate.
I know that's potentially the best part.
Yeah, yesterday was incredible at the tailgate. I had so much fun.
So much fun. And if you want to come to the tailgate, buy some tickets on our Eventbrite page.
Absolutely.
It was a lot of fun yesterday. I didn't actually eat any of the food, which was a little bit disappointing because there's like the sliders there, but there's also a grill now.
Yes.
With brats. There were
Wagyu
Wagyu
beef
burgers.
sausages.
yes, Wagyu beef sausage. Called it a brat, my bad.
Also, shout out to the homie Dev Machine for manning the grill.
Wild.
And shout out to Hassel Cattle Company.
Yes.
A little throwback for some people, but
Yes.
that's what that Wagyu beef is.
Absolutely.
And we shout out to Iceland for the
Yeah.
sauces.
Yes.
The candy, too.
Yeah, brought some
Iceland
Icelandic
was
sausages
awesome.
too.
Yes, they
Hot
did.
dogs, yep.
Incredible.
Wow. See, my thought is whenever I hear Icelandic sausage is like,
Well,
is this
don't
like
tell us.
caribou?
Mm.
Like
I thought
what
you
do
were
they
thinking
eat?
something else.
I was thinking blood sausage.
Oh boy, no, we're not doing that. But yeah, come out to the tailgate, come to the bar to watch all these games. It's so much fun. I think that's all I got.
And while you're at the tailgate, you can pop into Sports Fan, which of course we are in their parking lot in the back, and you can swing around to the front, check out all the awesome stuff they have. I was looking at it yesterday, guys. They have Shannon Sharp jerseys, like, authentic ones. Steve Atwater. There's a Floyd Little option in there. Obviously, John Elway. They've got all, the stuff you would see on the team store or other, competitors of theirs. But a lot more just like for the real ones type of gear. And that gets me fired up. So check out Sports Fan. When you're over there, we've got all sorts of stuff around the office here, and get your gear from there because it's a local business. We love supporting them.
Look at that, how that all checks out. You go to the game, which means you go to the tailgate, which means you check out Sports Fan.
Perfect mid-roll.
Yep, it is.
Wow.
But how concerned are we with the Broncos offense? Because the defense is elite. As I said last night, damn good. Second best defense in terms of points per game. They are the reason the Broncos are 2-1. The Broncos are only scoring 14.3 points per game. That includes 2 points from a safety, so 14 points per game for the offense. How concerned are you 3 games in?
I'm going to start with the things that have me feeling good.
Okay.
Because it is Victory Monday.
Of course.
One, this kind of sounds like a joke, but perfect in the red zone last night. Now,
1 for 1.
1 for 1, but that is a step in the right direction, obviously.
Massively. Yes.
Massive step. Who knows? If they got into the red zone 3 times last night, maybe they would have punched it in. Like, maybe the red zone issues are fixed. Maybe it was just a good play call, and it worked really well. And that's, that matters too. But so the fact that they were able to get in their one chance last night is a step in the right direction for me. 2, on the biggest drive of the game, Russell Wilson looked like Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, has to be encouraging because he even said it after the game, which was kind of funny. He's, patting himself on the back a little bit, but he's like, yeah, I had to use my legs and kind of take over the game a little bit.
Yeah.
And he did. And the throw to Kendall Hinton, remember when we said we haven't seen that vintage Russ yet? Mm-hmm. There it was.
Yep.
And when you see the back view, or actually the sky cam view of that play, it's twice as sick because he threw it before Kendall Hinton even knew it was coming to him.
Yep.
He just saw him there, boom, ripped it. Kendall did a great job of coming back
Credit
to the
to
ball.
Kendall, yeah.
Yep. And it was just like, there's Russell Wilson. Then later, like 3rd and 4, he runs for it. Just exciting to see that from him. That said, the lack of points, not just in this game, because if it was just this game, I would say the 49ers are really good. And they are. And it definitely mattered last night. But the fact that, now in 3 games, you haven't been able to eclipse 16 points, that feels concerning.
Yeah, it doesn't, and that's where I'm at too. I'm concerned, and I'm not overly concerned. I'm not smashing the pan, but because it is 3 games in, there's a new quarterback, there's a new head coach, there's a new play caller, there's a new offensive system. There's so many new parts where I understand it could take some time, but Ryan, one of the things that you pointed at last week, and it was a very fair point, was, okay, the Broncos averaging 16 points per game. Not good, very bad. They're not going to win many games doing that. And crazy enough, they come around and win a game when they score 11 points, 9 on offense. But you said they're moving the ball. And through the first 2 games, they were moving the ball. Not last night. And again, last night going against a good defense, but you can also argue going against Seattle and Texans, not good teams. So kind of balances out now. But last night, let me just read you the drives. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. They moved the ball 8 plays, punt. 11 plays, punt. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. 11 play drive for a touchdown or a missed field goal then. 3 and out, 3 and out. 12 play touchdown drive, 3 and out. 3 and out. The 3 and outs were terrible. And so kind of balancing out everything with the Broncos offense. Right now, in terms of points, obviously one of the worst in the league in scoring points. They're a bottom 5 team now in total yards. They went from one of the best to bottom 5 yards per play. They're bottom 6 passing yards. They're, I believe, bottom 5. And then rushing yards. And let's just do rushing yards per attempt. Right now, they're 17th. So nothing is clicking with this offense in its entirety right now. And so how can you not be at least concerned?
Yep.
Now, I think what it comes down to is Russell Wilson and what we saw in the fourth quarter. And I mentioned this last night too. If Russell Wilson's game of running around, buying time, being the classic vintage Russ is just being held back because Nathaniel Hackett wants to extend his longevity, well, he's going to need to let loose a little bit because Russ, you can't do that. You can't just let him be that in the fourth quarter. You got to let him be that guy. But what would concern me is if Russ just doesn't have that in him outside of 1 or 2 plays a game like he did last night, then that's when my concern level is actually very concerned. But I'm not willing to say that just yet. I'm not willing to say that he doesn't have it. It's only 3 games, and I like that we've seen flashes, but you got to unleash Russ now for like the rest of the season.
Yeah, and we'll never know the answer to this mystery, which is it the coaches telling him because they want to protect his body because they know it's a 17-game season, or is it Russ being hesitant to do it? And there's been some weird fluky stuff that has happened that has prevented him from being able to do that, like Nick Bosa's dirty play last night, the play the other week when they brought the big blitz. That was last week. They brought the big blitz and he trips over Garrett Bowles' foot. Like little things like that where, you might have been able to see more of Russ being Russ. But it really is one of those things where we keep talking about how there's so many unknowns with this team. You're just waiting to get more information. And it's just like, that's where we're at with Russ. We need more information to know what's going on, right, Hank?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you can look at the play call. Like, there's no read options. There's no designed runs or anything like that. So there's one. There were very few play action calls last night where there's been too many in the past.
Yep.
And so that's obviously where you see a lot of running where you see him get out of the pocket. But there's also times there was one sack where he could have just leaked out the right side. Like, there's nobody. The C's just kind of part, not necessarily to run, but just to buy more time in a game where you have almost no time to throw the ball. He stands there and takes a sack. And so I do think that, again, we'll never know, like, if he's deciding or if the coach is saying don't run or whatever. But you can look at everything that happened last night and say, well, the coaches aren't putting him in positions to run. And even when he does wind up in position, he's not really doing it until the end of the game. But even the running to me from Russ isn't... Like, it'd be nice to have all that, but it's the lack of separation from the receivers, the drops, the missed throws that are leading to incompletions too. And beyond all that, I think I might be most concerned with the running game. Like, right now, the 49ers are third in rushing defense DVOA, behind like Jacksonville and Indianapolis, third best running defense. And so not being able to run on them, sure, maybe you chalk it up to that. But I did think coming into the season that was going to be the one piece that you had week in and week out. And, there's no broken tackles. There's the fumbles. There's no holes. So all of this put together is pretty concerning to me.
Well, and just to one of the things that we talked about was, and Ryan, you really preached on this first 2 weeks, was the ball just was not bouncing the Broncos' way when there was a fumble, when there was a pick.
Thank God it did last night.
On defense, it did bounce the
Yes.
right way, with Jonas being able to dive under that interception, with P.J. Locke forcing the fumble, credit to him, but then Kareem Jackson falling on him. And for the offense,
Lucky.
Melvin Gordon, not one, but 2 fumbles. Guys, the Broncos lose one of those. We're talking about a loss. We're talking about how the Broncos are 1-2. We're talking about how the Broncos offense is completely incompetent, did not do enough to win the game, didn't show up at all because they probably don't get that touchdown winning drive because Melvin had a fumble on one of those. So the ball did bounce their way last night, and it still didn't help them that much.
Yeah, well, it did. It's the difference between a win and a loss.
I mean, no, it didn't. It didn't help them like become a good offense.
No, definitely not. But that wasn't really the case. It was just, hey, it went against them the first 2 weeks. They were able to kind of squeak away 1-1.
But no, in those first 2 weeks, so if they punch both of those in the end zone, then they're a good offense.
That's true.
Against the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's true. It's a little different. But I'll be honest. If one of those fumbles goes the other way, and the Broncos lose last night, I would be saying today that they should cut Melvin Gordon.
We have some people in our comment section offering a petition to trade him. And what's crazy is that Melvin Gordon knows how to get in the end zone, but after 2 fumbles in that game, I would have not put him on
no
the goal line
circumstances.
with a 1 yard. Now, credit to him. He held on to the ball. He
Didn't
got
get
into
touched.
the end zone. I was going to say credit to the offensive line for not getting touched, but that scared the hell out of me. And I have really supported Melvin all offseason. I was saying how, Melvin fumbles. Javonte had 1 fewer fumble than Melvin last year. In the first 3 weeks, Melvin Gordon has 3 fumbles. This is something that you cannot overlook. This is scary.
It's really scary. And to me, it's reaching a breaking point. You can't have 3 fumbles in 3 weeks. One of them lost you a game. And, we can talk about, 4th down. He was trying to extend the ball. He forced the fumble on himself.
And to be fair, Javonte also should not have lost a fumble.
Of course, yes. But this isn't a Melvin versus Javonte thing for me. It's more just a Melvin thing. This has come up across his whole career, and right now it looks worse than it's ever been. It's not getting better, it's getting worse.
Yeah.
3 fumbles in 3 weeks, and you're 1 bad bounce away from two losses being on you in 3 games. I don't know how the Broncos can continue to trust giving him the ball. And at this point, next time it happens, I'm going to be a little upset at Melvin. But I'm mostly going to be upset at the coaching staff. You know what you're signing up for every time you hand in the ball right now. It's a shame that this is the truth because Melvin Gordon is actually a very good running back, and he deserves that credit, and I want to keep pounding that drum for him. But now it's on the coaching staff. Every time you hand in the ball, you are living with the risk that he is a fumble machine.
And in the 4th quarter yesterday, when the game was on the line, Javonte Williams had 4 carries. Melvin Gordon had 4 carries. Now, Melvin, yardage-wise, did more, 13 yards. Javonte only got 5. But it's not like the coaches were saying, we don't trust you anymore. No, they're trusting him just as much.
Yep, and they gave it to Melvin on that last 3rd down, too.
Yep.
When it was just, essentially you were trying to run the ball and punt.
And he's been in that situation before against Washington football team, and that did end in a fumble.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I want to give Nathaniel Hackett credit for. When you make an aggressive decision and it pays off, everyone pats you on the back and says, "Great job. That was the right call. You're a genius." But no one ever comes back around to pat the coach on the back when they make a conservative decision and it pays off. And essentially, it's almost believed as like, "Oh, he got away with one," because he decided to be conservative in that sense. But I think that Nathaniel Hackett read the way the game was going correctly last night. And so instead of throwing the ball with Russell Wilson on 2nd or 3rd down in that situation, he said, hey, I'm going to take timeouts away from the Niners and I'm going to give the ball right back to him, and I'm going to trust my defense. And that defense was so elite last night that I think it was the right call. But no one's going back and saying, like, great job, Hackett, good punt. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think he does deserve that credit.
Totally. I mean, the game management in general was really good. I mean, even sticking with the running game was That must have been really hard to do when you're just running the ball twice, throwing on third down, and you're not getting anywhere. But there were a lot of first down runs. You just have to accept that that's how that game goes, and you just need to keep grinding away. And they stuck with that. There was the punt from midfield right before that, too, when they were still down, when they needed points. 4th and inches, and I think that Hackett said after the game that was one where he threw it up to the booth and they're saying you should punt this, and he was having a tough time and he agreed, okay, let's punt it, and it worked out. So
all right, the 4th and inches.
Exactly. Yeah. I do think that all of that stuff took a big step forward. I mean, the other side though is that I do wish that they were more creative offensively, maybe not more aggressive, but just find a way to get people going one way and then go back the other. There's just not enough of that. It's hard to find that balance, though.
It was hard to pull off misdirection last night because the 49ers were getting into the backfield so quick. So any play that took a little bit to develop, Javonte Williams has 2 good runs. You get all the way down there. You try to run a little draw play with Melvin Gordon, and it gets blown up the second that he gets the ball, and it completely derails the drive. That was the play that I believe then a couple seconds later, Cortland Sutton had the drop. And it was just like, wow, everything went wrong because you kind of overthought it a little bit, even though a draw had worked with Javonte only 2 plays earlier. But I was thinking, don't run a reverse because these guys are just blowing up everything. It's like anything. Don't try anything that goes backwards. Just move forward.
Speaking of reverse and getting the ball into playmakers' hands, crazy that KJ Hamler played the whole game and just
not even a target.
Nope, nothing, nothing.
Yeah.
It's time to wonder.
19 snaps, he ran 11 routes.
Oh, he did have a target but it didn't count because it was a free play on an offside.
But real quick on the misdirection, the reason you do that, though, is to stop them from being that aggressive. Because then they have to think about it. If they know, they've run the ball straight ahead this many times, probably going to run the ball straight ahead again, they can keep pinning their ears back. As soon as you catch them with the screen, as soon as you just get them going one way or the other, that's what slows them down. But yeah, KJ, 19 snaps, 11 routes run, no targets. It's not ideal.
No, certainly not ideal.
Yeah, it's concerning. Real quick, Rosberg, helpful?
Yes.
You can't say he wasn't.
Yep.
The funny thing was Rosberg definitely held Nathaniel Hackett back on that 4th and inches. But Nathaniel Hackett said the reason he hired him was so that he could focus more on the offense. It just happens to be that's the worst the offense has looked. I'm very curious to see what this Broncos offense looks like against the Raiders, and we're going to talk about it a lot this week. It should open up a ton. And speaking of the Raiders, I got some great news for you Broncos fans. But first, got to tell you about our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook, where you can find this great news, because over at DraftKings Sportsbook, they've already got lines up for next week, which we're going to dive into in just a second. And if you bet $5 on any money line game in the NFL this week, you're going to get $200 in free bets in your account right away. Those are going to come in 8 $25 free bets. DraftKings Sportsbook gets you in the door with this, but then once you're there, they keep giving you things. On Saturday, they gave me 4 profit boosts. Tonight, they've got some fun things going on for the Giants and Cowboys game. On DraftKings, boy, they're saying that it's going to be a close game. I think the Giants may be 3-0, so I like the Giants tonight personally over at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Cooper Rush has been so good.
Yeah,
Cooper Rush has been so good, though.
3-0 as a starter, right?
Yeah. Somebody was saying, this is my favorite take, if he had an arm, he would be Peyton Manning. But the problem is he's just so weak and can't get the ball anywhere. So he has the brain. He's hitting everything underneath. I don't know. I'm kind of about it.
That's Trevor Siemian right there. And
I
love Trevor, and he's a backup in the NFL right now. But you can get in on this.
So is Cooper
Sounds like
Rush.
Henry is going to be betting on the Cowboys. I may be betting on the Giants. Head over to the App Store now. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get this offer, and see the terms and restrictions in our details of this pod on the podcast and on the website.
All right.
Oh, and speaking of the good news, let's give our DraftKings Sportsbook pick of the week this week. Guys, I warned you last night. I said this Raiders team, 0-3, it's going to be a little more difficult than that, and Vegas said, absolutely, it is. In fact, guys,
I don't think
the opening line. No, Vegas is backing me up by saying this.
I don't think so.
Absolutely, they are. My DraftKings pick of the week. Broncos plus 100 right now. The Denver Broncos, the 2-1 Denver Broncos on a 2-game win streak, are underdogs against the Las Vegas Raiders this week. I would get in on this line now, and why it's my pick of the week is because get in on it now. This is going to flip. Just like it flipped last week for the Broncos and 49ers, this is going to flip. Broncos are going to end up being 2-point favorites. It's going to be about a 3 or 4 point swing. So get in now at Broncos plus 100.
How crazy, like, that the line for the Broncos game was always around 1 point, one way or the other, and it ends in a 1 point game.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they just do this so often. So that's what I'm looking out at this as is. It's going to be a close game.
Yeah, but
Yep.
how is Vegas not backing what I said about the Raiders putting up
What
more
you
of
were
a fight
saying-
than people think?
It's just they're just saying the Raiders aren't that bad. They're not saying they're like backed into a corner and they're going to play great. They're just saying like the Raiders aren't as bad as their record.
That's exactly what they're saying.
No,
they're saying right now the Raiders are going to win a close game, because it's not because they're 0-3, it's because they're backed into a corner.
No, they're saying because they're not as bad as their record says they are.
And I mean, yeah, that plays into it.
Yeah.
That defense is so bad, though. They looked terrible. Like I was talking about the running game struggling. This should be a game where they can get back on track.
So you taking over Broncos points in this game, or what are you doing? What's your pick of the week?
Zach, there is no way in hell I'm taking the over on the Broncos points until they actually score 20 in a game.
What is the team total? I got it right here.
It's got to be like
21 and a half.
21?
21.5. So can they get more than 3 touchdowns?
My DraftKings pick of the week,
Is that?
over.
Love it.
Over on 21 and a half.
Wow.
Again, I have to take myself back to that Seattle game in which they moved the ball at will, could have scored 38 points, and had just fluky stuff happen. It feels like some of those fluke, like at least the penalties and stuff are out of their system. I'll touch wood. I think next week they play a cleaner game, and they're on a hot streak in the red zone right now, so they get it in next week.
I like it. I like the over there. Because if it's ever going to be over, it's going to be in this game. If the offense is ever going to heat up, it's going to be this game.
Get right game.
I think I'll go with give me the Jags plus 6.5 at Philly. Jags are playing such good football. 6.5 points is so many.
It's a lot for a team that looks pretty darn good.
Exactly. The Dolphins getting 3.5 points in Cincinnati next week is also tempting.
Thursday Night Football, though, and Tua, we just don't know if he is what's happening with him.
And they got like doubled up in yards. The stat was something like I think the Bills ran like 90 plays and Miami ran 36 or something yesterday.
Teddy came in for one series, and it was almost an abject disaster. He like threw one away, almost threw a pick six on a bubble screen. It was just like, oh, God, they're in big trouble.
Yep.
2 is the truth, baby.
Tua is.
Let's go.
And I've always believed that. But he also looked like he was 1,000% concussed. Then Ian Rappaport comes out with a weird report defending it, which makes no sense. And now they're saying like he's still a little sore, and they're not sure. He also has an ankle issue. Here's what happened is he was probably concussed. He also probably scammed the system on his original baseline test, like a lot of NFL players do when they're doing the baseline test for concussion. So he was able to pass the baseline test, which then they just go, all right, he can come back in. But did you see what happened? Did you see the play?
Yeah.
So he's wobbling around there,
Yeah.
looks completely in a daze.
Yep.
Then did you see what Ian Rappaport said?
I did not see his report.
Okay, so Ian Rappaport said he hurt his back earlier in the game, and then on that play he tweaked it, and that's why he was wobbly.
Yeah, we'll see.
That if you see the replay, it does not look like a guy whose back hurts.
No.
Like
it did not.
like what? His back was at a 45-degree angle, so he stood up and was like, "Oh no!" and toppled over. That's not what happened.
We've
He
all
was busy.
seen the knee buckle head thing before.
Right, yeah,
And that's
yeah,
exactly what it looked like. Not like, ow, my back hurts.
Yeah, I hope he's okay, and if he plays, I really like that line you found there, Hank.
Yep, definitely.
I don't
So
think
there
he's
we
going to
go.
play, and they're going to have to find a way to cover it up
With Teddy.
with the ankle
Deep
injury.
ball Teddy, baby.
All right. There we go. Anything else we need to get to here?
Absolutely. There's a couple things. Ryan, why don't you tell me about Liquid Death?
Ooh, Liquid Death. Actually, so I used to not be a big sparkling water person. Slowly but surely have gained a taste for it, and the Liquid Death sparkling water is extremely good. It sounds intimidating.
It does.
And I think that's the point. Is it's kind of a joke.
Well, you know what it does. It kills your thirst.
Ah,
That's
there
the
you
death
go.
to your thirst.
There you go.
Wow.
What I love though is they just have one called Mountain Water, and you guys know, big water aficionado
Yeah.
here.
So true.
Everywhere I go, I judge their water, and this stuff is the truth. I don't even normally buy bottled water because I'm like, oh, just filtered Colorado tap water is better than bottled water. Canned water though, different scenario. I yesterday had 2 of them at the tailgate. It's just great, solid water, and their sparkling stuff is great too. Lots of different flavors. The cans are cool. It's a win-win-win.
It is. It is a win-win-win.
I'm all in. Yeah, why not?
What else do we need to talk about, Hank?
I thought those were the.
By the way, you can
Oh, we
get
already
it-
did DraftKings.
You can get it at Safeway, 7-Eleven, King Supers, any of the classic local retailers.
See, I mean, just another shout out to DraftKings. Got a notification right now. 50% single game parlay boost for tonight, or same game parlay boost for tonight.
Nice.
There you go.
Saquon over on rushing yards. He's
I like
so
it.
back.
I like it.
Mile High City sliders. They're so good. I didn't get to have any yesterday, like I said, but yeah, I mean the drunken meatball, the jalapeno popper, the classic just American cheese, like good old slider. They have everything there.
Even some delicious veggie options.
Veggie options, chips, all that sort of stuff. And if you want to check them out, then you should book them for whatever event you have, or just come to the tailgate, obviously. But they do, weddings and company picnics and graduations. Food trucks are awesome, and this is the best one, as RK likes to say a lot.
Sliders and food truck.
Sliders are food truck
Match made in
perfect.
heaven.
Yeah, it's the way it should be. So call 720-375-3464 to book for any event in the metro area. They also have a Facebook page and all that sort of stuff. Again, that's Mile High City Sliders, and you want to talk to Dominic at 720-375-3464 to set up the food truck appearance for any of your catering needs.
Boom. All right, let's get into our super chats here first. Okay. We start here with Mr. Orange. Number 5, Randy Gregory, probably the best pickup so far this offseason. I think I could make the case Randy Gregory, best player on the Broncos through 3 games.
You could.
Wow.
You could certainly make that argument.
The chat agrees with you very strongly.
You could make that case.
Yeah, he has looked like an absolute beast. 15 pressures, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles.
Yep.
The dude is absolutely crushing it. I don't know if you guys, we talked about it last night. I was like, I wonder how Chandler Jones is doing. So I looked it up. He's not doing anything, actually. He has 0 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, 7 pressures, 1 tackle for loss.
Yep.
It is crazy. And this is one where, again, touch wood, if Randy Gregory stays on the field all year, George Payton's going to look like a genius.
Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt. And speaking of that position, our guy Will Jock says, extend Chubb now? No, there's no need to. If you extend Chubb now, you're paying him top dollar. Well, wait for him to prove that he's going to stay healthy, and then just do what you would do now. Pay him top dollar.
Right now, he's 3 sacks through 3 games.
Yeah.
He's thinking he's going to be making a lot of money this offseason, so he's not giving you a discount right now.
Tell you what, I'm going to extend Chubb if this pass rush duo
boy.
keeps playing like this.
Oh, boy.
USAC says, a dub versus the Raiders. Sun is a dagger for their season. Oh, a
Sunday.
win versus the Raiders this Sunday is a dagger for their season.
Yep.
I completely agree. Ryan, you said earlier this week, and we'll talk about it, or you said yesterday, and we'll talk about this later in the week, that their season's already over. No, because if they beat the Broncos, they're only 1 game back of the Broncos then.
Yeah,
totally.
You beat them this week, they're done. Absolutely done. So I agree with you, USAC. I don't think they're done yet. It doesn't look good for them. I'm not gonna bet. I wouldn't say that their season's not done, but I mean, you can kill them this week.
Be curious what the percentage of 0-3 teams to make the playoffs is.
Less than 12% because 12% is 0-2 teams.
Oh, exactly. So
yeah.
I'm thinking maybe only 2 or 3 teams ever have done it.
It would be more than that.
Yeah,
It would definitely be more than that.
It'd probably be a decent 5% or something.
I'll look it
like
up.
that.
So as of right now, 538 has the Raiders with a 13% chance of making the playoffs. The FPI with ESPN has them at 19.6%. So again, that's still alive.
They
But
haven't played any division games, have they?
They
No,
lost.
they lost to the Chargers.
Yes.
Yeah. But
So-
they still have 5 opportunities in the division. Again, the Raiders are the worst team in the AFC West.
Yes.
But this week you kill them.
And if we trust these numbers, 13 to 20% chance they make the playoffs. You beat them this week. Those take a big hit.
I was pretty close.
Oh, really?
Dating back to the 1979 NFL playoff expansion, only 6 teams have gone from 0-3 to the playoffs.
There we go.
Pretty crazy. Last one to do
That
it,
is
Texans,
crazy.
2018. They won 9 in a row.
There you go. Good
The
quarterback
Texans
there
were
at
so
the
solid
time.
so recently.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Next one from Seth. He says, our defense is so sick. If our offense figures it out, we will be hard to beat. Hats off to Coach Hackett for being humble and realizing he needed help. And then also says, hey, fellas, congrats to RK for riding with our Broncos. That dub has to feel extra sweet.
It does. You know, I really wanted to dunk on national media today because, like, everyone on the SNF panel but Matthew Berry picked against the Broncos.
Yeah.
Everyone on the NFL Network panel picked against the Broncos.
Just keep going.
And I wanted to be like, man, look at these dum-dums. And then I was like, wait. Then I'm just throwing you guys under the bus. So.
Hey, I took the Broncos on the tailgate yesterday.
You always
morning.
take the Broncos on the tailgate.
So I took them.
If I'm not there, it doesn't count. So last time I heard, it was a San Francisco 49ers win for you. So
Also,
maybe
neither of
now
you
we're
guys
wrong.
responded to this in the group text, and
Yep.
now I have to put you on blast publicly. 0-4 in the AFC
Yep,
West.
yep.
Great.
Thank you.
Like I
Thank
said, just as impressive as 4-0.
Yep, it really is.
Wow.
And that's why, I just took my dub right there, Ryan.
There you go.
So thank you. And
What was your dub?
What was my dub?
Yeah, what was it?
Going on forward, just as impressive as
Oh,
4-0.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, congrats.
So thank you.
Good job.
No formal apologies when we're talking picks. And Kyle Garcia says, imagine how good the defense will be. Now I can see it. Imagine how good the defense will be when they can rest between drives because the offense isn't consistently having 3 and outs. It's a great point, Kyle.
They have only consistently had 3 and outs one game.
But imagine how much better the defense could have been last night, and probably actually not much better.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
they were
They
so
allowed
good
one big play in
anyway.
the whole game, and it
10
cost them
points.
7 points.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is true. I think I forgot to mention this when saying why I felt better today. The number one thing I feel good about today is if this offense ever figures it out, the Broncos are right there with the echelon of the best teams in the league we're talking about. Now, that's a big if. 3 weeks have showed that they are a bottom scoring offense. I don't think that'll hold up forever.
Agree.
I also probably don't think they're going to vault themselves into the top 10. But if they can be a top 10 scoring offense for the final 12 weeks or something like that, then you're talking about this team. Like, look at the Buccaneers right now. Everyone looks at them as a legitimate contender because their defense is really good, but their offense is also struggling. They're feeling the same way, which is like, if this offense gets going, we're a Super Bowl team. The Eagles are a team right now that's kind of hitting on both cylinders. And if the Broncos were just producing on offense, we'd be talking about them in that category. The Bills, same thing. Their defense looked really good before yesterday when they played without half of it, basically. And their offense is obviously their offense. It's like, that's a team. So I believe the Broncos are figuring it out on offense, which they certainly have the quarterback to do, in my opinion, away from being considered a Super Bowl contender.
And I didn't say this before, but I feel a lot better today too. And I didn't feel bad last night at all. The defense, as we talked about, could be the best defense in the NFL. Is it? I mean, you gotta prove it for
More
a couple
info,
more weeks
yeah.
and do all that sort of stuff. But they're definitely in the conversation as of right now. The offense, I think it's easy to get caught up in, just looking at the very best offenses and say, oh, why aren't we that team? Why aren't we at that team? There aren't many of those, though. You have the Bills, who are just going to put up an insane number of points every week. You have the Chiefs, who are going to do that. But beyond that, there really aren't any others. The Bucs have struggled. The Packers have struggled. The Chargers were supposed to be right up there, but they just put up 10 points on the Jaguars this week.
There's 9 teams averaging 27 points or more.
Yeah, but then, who are those teams?
It's the Miami Dolphins.
Yep,
The
and
Atlanta
again-
Falcons.
So again, the Falcons, you don't believe it. The Dolphins, it's still early, so you could see how they could come back to earth. You're not ready to say this is one of the league's very, very best offenses.
Jags,
Exactly.
Browns,
Yep.
Eagles, Chiefs, Bills, Lions, and Ravens.
And you look through any of those, and I guess maybe the Ravens are in there too. But it's the Chiefs and Bills that you look at and say, yep, this is definitely sustainable. That's who these teams are. there are so few of those teams that are actually going to do that every week. And I don't know. The Broncos can totally get into that second tier, that third tier. And if they do that, they have the defense to win a lot of games.
I mean, we talked about the Broncos need to be about 26 points per game to be taking a step in the right direction with Russell Wilson, the investment they had. And that would put them in that group right there. That is almost doubling their point total from what they're at right now. But I do think they have the pieces for that. But like you said, Ryan, it is a big ask to just say, okay, they need to double their points right now. But I believe they have the pieces.
It is just crazy, though, like watching around the NFL and just seeing all these teams score touchdowns, like the Lions.
I mean, the
They're
Falcons.
just like scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly.
It's weird to see.
It's very weird to
turn
see
on
the
Broncos.
Lions being the second best offense in terms of points.
Yep.
Totally.
Yep.
I
We
mean,
hop into the comment section.
We should.
yeah.
First one coming in from Melbourne Broncos says, my boys, winning is fun. We owe it to the defense, obviously. They have improved out of sight, so I guess a little thanks goes to Fangio for educating them the last few years. Let's hope Russ gets better and the receivers start catching the ball more and crush the Raiders. Cheers.
Boom.
There we
Yes.
Let's go. Crush it. Man, could you imagine if the offense just clicks this week and they beat the Raiders like 38-10?
go. Yep, blow the doors off them, just like
Yeah.
the Jags did to the Chargers.
Yes, they did. Oh, that was awesome.
Broncology says you have to give a ton of credit to both defenses in that game.
Wait.
Sure.
Can we talk about the Chargers for just a quick second?
Sure.
First of all, yesterday, just an absolute disaster. Never should have played Justin Herbert in the first place. Now you've set him back, in my opinion, in terms of his recovery from that injury. And it has begun. The Chargers unraveling, which is the most predictable thing in sports. Never root for injuries. I don't want to see these guys get hurt.
That's why I didn't do that on Twitter publicly today.
Yeah. One person came after me, whatever. All I was saying is, I'm not celebrating the injuries. I'm just saying, this is the most predictable thing ever. It happens to them every single year. Rashawn Slater out for the season. Joey Bosa has a groin injury, which is not good for a pass rusher. Obviously, Justin Herbert is hurt.
Yep.
Keenan Allen's banged up. J.C. Jackson doesn't look the same coming back from that injury. It is insane how this happens to them. And yet, is it? Because it's very predictable.
But now look at the Broncos. I mean, look how big their injury report was last week. And the Broncos weathered through it. Now, I think the injuries to the Chargers seem more significant, specifically with Rashawn Slater, especially when your quarterback can't be touched right now and you lose a really good tackle in this league. But the Broncos weathered them.
They did. It's a little different for the Chargers. It's just like all of their best players are somehow always hurt. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and obviously Justin Herbert is the key for them, and he does not look like he should be playing, and it doesn't look like he should be playing for a couple of weeks.
I know. They have to make a really tough decision right now. But the thing is, you're already 1-2. And can you say, let's sit him for 2 weeks? I don't know what their schedule looks like off the top of my head, but can you get away with that at this point? Like,
You at the end of the day, though, you have to do what's best for your young quarterback.
long term.
Yes, 100%. So, yes, you can, even if that means missing the playoffs again.
And real quick, the Jags look so good.
Yep.
Sixth in total offense, 8th in total defense. The advanced stats say they're even better than those numbers. Yes, it's great that the Chargers lost and all that, but I do wonder if this will look like a good loss at the end of the season. Not a good loss. And a loss where you're like, okay.
The
happens.
London game is going to be awesome because of everything we've got going on and being there, but that game's actually going to be a good one.
It's going to be tight.
What's crazy is, if the Broncos hold up their end of the bargain and the Jags stay where they're at, like, it could potentially be the biggest game ever in London.
Yeah, it very well could be. And I
Definitely.
believe this week starts the London games.
Yes,
We got
there
a
is
London
one.
game this Sunday.
Vikings with...
How do you feel?
Somebody.
Like, I'm pro, I'm pro London games for the expansion of it, but like, I don't like having to wake up that early to watch the game.
I mean, but then it's also nice if you're up that early.
It is,
There's a
yes.
game on.
Yes.
And it's meant for
Speaking
the
for
East
yourself
Coast
there,
people.
I can see.
Yeah.
Like the 9:30
Sorry, Peyton.
start on the East Coast would be nice. Get something going before the...
And all they care about is East Coast. So.
Yep.
Broncology says you have to give a ton of credit to both defenses in the game. Sure, the Broncos had some miscues, but so did the Niners. Those two defenses are top in the league. Neither gave an inch, and the Broncos found a way to win it in the end. Hopefully this will build team chemistry and something they can draw from when it gets tough down the road. I love the game. Such resilience. The Broncos of the past years have crumbled in these situations time and time again. Thanks for the coverage. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Yep.
Kirk Smith 44 says, winning is winning, but Russ needs to be better. He's an average quarterback at best right now, a long way from a $250 million man. You guys said during predictions that we need to score more than 16 points.
I did say that, and I said that again last night. Underestimated the defense.
Yep.
But we can stick by that still. The Broncos do that for the rest of the season. They're not going to be playing a Seattle Seahawks with Jimmy Garoppolo. They're not going to be playing a Davis Mills Texans who looked atrocious yesterday. And they're not going to be playing Jimmy Garoppolo making his first start of the season. So the Broncos offense absolutely needs to step up.
At some point, yes.
He does not look like a $50 million guy right now.
You're also not playing the San Francisco defense every week.
But
That's the
come
other
on,
piece.
the Texans defense, the Seahawks defense,
True,
not
true.
playing them either.
More or less than 16 points needed to win this week.
More.
More.
I'm
Maybe
gonna
not-
say.
maybe not-
I'm
maybe
gonna
not
say.
much though.
Right now, my feeling is that 18 would be the number.
I think 18, I'd say, yeah, you win with 18.
There we go. Nash Bronco says, hi, boys. Great show yesterday. I feel like Hackett overreacted to criticism and reverted to being a very boring offense.
Yep.
That paired with more drops and a few miscommunications culminated to what we saw last night. However, the team looked composed, and penalties and process were so much better. Previous year's teams would have lost that game, but with Russ, I never doubted the win, even when we were behind. We beat a top 5 NFC team and made progress in a few areas. Jewel played up to the level he was at last year, which was awesome to see. And it seems like Jonas is starting to fully understand the scheme since he was out there more than Singleton. I love how this defensive scheme puts players in position to make plays on the ball. Evero is a superstar so far.
Yep. And, the buttons they pushed worked. I agree the offense wasn't creative enough. At the same time, though, you pound the rock up the middle. You accept the way that game is being played. It's a defensive battle. You don't do anything to put the ball in harm's way. You make sure you're not turning it over, give him short fields. A lot of offensive coaches aren't capable of flipping into that mode. I still don't love it, though.
Yeah, I can't give credit to the offense outside of one drive yesterday.
Not to the offense. I can understand maybe where the play calling came from.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Alex Singleton is such an incredible luxury. I don't know how there wasn't a team that brought him in to be their just bona fide starter.
Mm-hmm.
He's a better inside middle linebacker than I would guess at least 10 teams are trotting out there right now. And it's cool because then you see Josie come in and you're like, oh, Josie is definitely better than him. And he's already really good. Even last night you get to use him on special teams, and he's just like an absolute stud for you on special teams.
Yep. Shout out Aaron Patrick, who was also a stud on special teams.
3 tackles for Singleton on special teams. Nobody else had multiple.
It's another thing. Special teams last night, aside from the missed Brandon McManus field goal, which on the rewatch, wow, it was as bad as I thought.
Yeah.
You missed that by 20, 30 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, aside from that, special teams last night, awesome. Another thing that usually only gets talked about if it's bad.
Right. Yes. 100%. So credit to them.
Incredible.
And definitely we gave Corliss his due, which was very deserved yesterday. DK says last time and only time a team won a game 11-10, they went on to win the Super Bowl.
What's
Just
crazy?
Saying.
What's crazy about different stat. The only other time a team won a game with exactly a touchdown, a field goal, and a safety was the Dan Orlovsky game when he ran out of the back of the end zone.
That
So
is
same
wild.
exact safety.
Did they get the 2-point conversion or no?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I think no, because I think that's exactly the points. Like not even the extra point.
Okay. Wow. There we go.
Wow.
Rustway Johnson says division leaders Wilson fourth quarter rally Song of Evero.
Was that a haiku?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
It looked like it was styled in some sort of
I
poem.
think it is.
It must be.
I think that's a little 575.
Should I read it again? Division leaders Wilson fourth quarter rally Song of Evero.
Yes, that
It
is.
is absolutely haiku.
And Kendall Hinton, the Hall of Famer, coming through, says, feels so good to be 2-1, even if our offense is worse than last year right now. Here's some of my takeaways. The good, Russ can still run. What a relief. The bad, we had bland Pat Shurmur-like play calling. Apparently, we have to pick good, clever play calling or minimizing penalties. Hackett needs to figure that out. It's rough. The ugly, Russ has played like he maybe warrants half the contract right now. I'm so worried we got closer to the Russ of last year than the Russ from 2 or 3 years ago.
Still early.
I think that's still out. The jury's still out on that.
Yep.
I'm not, and that's why exactly where I said my concern level is who is he?
I've never hated the fact that football only plays once a week more than I do in these first 3 weeks.
Yep. The good thing is next week we get 2 in the span of 4 or 5 days.
That's true. There's just so many questions, and we don't have enough information to answer them yet.
Yep.
And
that's very true.
It is worth noting. I mean, when Matt LaFleur got to Green Bay, you can make a very, very, very strong case that was the worst season of Aaron Rodgers' career. And everybody wants to think about the last 2 years, but there was that one that was really ugly, and maybe it just takes some time for the offense to click.
Yep. Hank, you want to get the next one? Do you have them pulled up?
I don't have them pulled up.
All right.
RK's burner account says, fellas, if you had to guess how many official drops the wide receivers have this year, what would you guess?
I already saw his answer.
Hank, what would you guess?
I've seen 2 of accounts because one
What
had
would you
2
guess?
coming into
What
this.
would you
One had
guess?
5 coming
What
into
would
this.
you guess?
I mean, it depends on where he's looking. 9 if we're using the 5.
Officially, it's 2. Since that is obviously wrong, what is with the drops? It seems like we've had a very abnormal amount in the first 3 weeks.
I don't know exactly who scores these or what, but like on rewatch, the Jerry Jeudy one doesn't count as a drop. That's a pass broken up. It got tipped. But fans, of course, see that, and that's a drop to them.
I gotta say, I have not had an issue with drops. I don't think it's been like crazy bad. Personally, I think it's fairly normal.
There's been some really bad situational drops.
Yeah.
The Cortland Sutton one last night, the Albert O one last week.
Yep.
And that's where they stand out so much to the fans.
And I wonder, because they were 5th in expected points lost to drops coming into this week. That Cortland Sutton drop is worth 3 more points, and with the potential for a touchdown. The drops need to get better. The drops do need to get better.
Yeah. Again, situationally, they just need to make those plays.
And I think that's what it is. You probably find every fan base, 90% of fan bases complaining about drops as well. So I personally don't think it's as bad as fans are making it seem.
Also, I don't know why I'm inspired to do this, but I just saw it so much in the last 2 weeks. I might just go put together a highlight reel of every quarterback that people think is good throwing short of the sticks on 3rd down.
It's been tough.
Josh Allen's doing it. Pat Mahomes is doing it. That's what happens.
Yep, it is.
All right, Nikola Jokic, QB1, says, what a refreshing game. After years on the carousel, multiple training camp battles, and a long list of failed free agency pickups, the Broncos are trending in the right direction. Yes, there were some bumps along the way, but at least it seems we found ourselves a better franchise punter. Sure, the offense looks sloppy, anemic even. But if you told me on Sunday morning the Broncos get a win while the Chiefs, Chargers, and Raiders all lost, I would have taken it regardless if it was 11-10, 2-0, or 6-1.
In a heartbeat.
Do you know how you can get 1 point? Only 1 point?
On a drop kick.
No.
How?
The only way you can get 1 point in football without it being an extra point is a safety on a 2 point or so like. If you were going for 2 and you somehow went backwards 98 yards and got a safety, that would be 1 point to the other 2.
That's never happened.
I actually think it has.
I thought you could do it on like a drop kick punt or something, like in a very other weird way. Maybe not though.
I think you might be right. I think there might be 2 ways to get it.
Man, that would be wild if 98-yard safety.
No, yeah, or
Jimmy
like
G was looking like that last night.
You could also get the more likely is the 1 point safety the other way, where you like throw a pick or something, and they run back in the end zone and tackle them.
Yep.
Instead of 98, that's just one. I mean, still very rare.
They intercepted on the 1 yard line, run back into the end zone
Yep.
trying to dodge and get tackled.
Yep.
All I want is to see a team end with 1 point in a game. That's my dream.
You think we'll ever see it?
Can die happy after that happens. I think yes. It's going to happen in college football more likely.
Oh, okay, in college. Sure.
Probably won't happen in the pros.
Yep. Was there more, or did we get that one?
He went on. Personally, I don't think Hackett is Dan Reevesing Wilson. It seems like they haven't fully figured it out yet. San Francisco did a great job taking away Wilson's bread and butter plays. They need to build chemistry. Russ is going to go into this week looking to hook up with his boys. I hear Vegas is a good spot to do that.
Oh boy! Wow, I love it.
Okay. Until then, Broncos country. Let's punt.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And next one from G Ham says, "This is the ickiest feeling when, but I'm gonna still revel in it. I also hate saying."
Last week was ickier.
Oh, yeah. I also hate saying this, but they gotta let Russ cook. Let the man be himself. It's time. No better game to do it than against the Raiders' abysmal secondary and non-existent pass rush. I got a bone to pick with DNVR. Why are there only 4 Broncos shirts on the site right now, but 6 Rocky shirts? Can't believe this.
Catch
Some
the
of the-
fever.
Yeah. It's the thing is that more Bronco shirts have ended up having to be taken away because those players aren't on the team anymore, or the coach didn't work out, or whatever it may be. So we need more things.
Or
the Broncos
the-
need to have more things for them.
Also, the NFL being a little more stingy
The
on
NFL
what's
is pretty
possible and what's not possible.
Should we do Broncos country? Let's punt.
Oh boy, I'm not quite sure those are gonna be flying off the shelves.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So as soon as the Broncos, start doing more cool things and
Get an identity.
Yep.
Yep.
I've got a couple ideas.
Love it. Of
All
course
right,
you do.
last one here from Windy City Bronco. Again, if we can't get to yours on a post-game show or a day after show, then just bring it to the next day. We'll try to get it then. The earlier you do it, obviously, the better chance we have of getting to it. Windy City Bronco says, I absolutely loved that game. Last night was the first time in 6 years I've been able to make it out to Mile High in my wife's first game there. It was noisy. It had everything that I love about seeing a Broncos game in person at home. But I felt like we were surrounded by negative fans. I'm not talking about people who merely booed when our offense was struggling. I'm talking about people who thought they were the next gurus, next genius OC, had all the answers. They had to share their genius with everyone around them. It was tedious. We had a great time in spite of them, but man, I do not understand people who pay that much money just to complain the entire game. Shouldn't you be at home crafting some spicy tweets instead? It's pretty rough out there. For me, it wasn't, people thinking that they're the next genius OC. For me, it was just the people just yelling the most out-of-pocket shit at their own team, just Russ sucks, much worse stuff than that. It's man, come on. The whole point of being here is to support them. Yeah. Now, I'm okay with voicing your frustrations via booing sometimes.
Was last night okay?
Those, I don't even count the, third 3 and out, just, kind of smattering of boos.
Yeah.
In the third quarter, there was a chorus of boos.
For sure. And I think at that point,
I think it was warranted.
it's warranted. But I just don't like doing it in a close game. I really don't.
Exactly.
And you know what? The best thing to illustrate my point is? The 49ers hear that, and they're running off the field saying, yeah, do that. Do more of that. They want that because they know it's dejecting on the other side. So I don't love it. But that's different than just screaming obscenities from, we're sitting close to the sideline, so these guys can hear it.
Yeah.
And I'm just why are you doing that to them? What do you think that
I
accomplishes?
I agree with you
Yep.
there. Yeah.
All right. That is going to wrap it up for us. This was a long one. A lot of stuff to talk about. Thankfully, we have a whole week to do it. So plenty more discussion coming this week. And appreciate all of you guys for listening in. And we'll be back with you tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos podcast.